Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another episode of Dec and Dan Discuss Arrow. This is the show where we discuss Arrow, of course, every single week, or sometimes more, sometimes less. And as always, I am joined by Hoss.
Hello.
And once again, I am joined by Dan.
Hi. And I've got a better title for this podcast. I reckon we should call it Two Dans and a Deck.
Yeah, he did send me this.
That is way better.
But the thing is, I mean, to be fair, I said this to Dan, I've said this live on the podcast before, Dec and Dan Discuss Arrow is terrible, and I probably should have just kept calling this On a Die Podcast like it was originally called. Especially because now we just sort of talk about Arrowverse in general. Maybe I'll change it, who knows, we'll see. Keep an eye out for the titles, boys. So, what we want to talk about in this specific episode is not only the latest episode of Arrow, which is episode 7, but we're also going to be talking about all the Arrowverse news that we got yesterday, because it was a big news day. We got a lot of really interesting and rather sad information regarding all of our DC TV shows. So, first of all, we got the official schedule released for 2021, which was important because we didn't know if the shows were going to return this year or if they were going to just be pushed back. So all of the shows have been pushed back. So now on Sunday, 8/7 Central, we have Batwoman. Monday, 9/8 Central, Black Lightning. Tuesday, 8/7 Central, The Flash. And Tuesday, 9/8 Central, Superman and Lois. And there is currently no word on when Supergirl Season 6 or Legends of Tomorrow Season 6 will debut. This schedule isn't particularly surprising. I mean, Batwoman stays where it is, Black Lightning stays paired with All American, The Flash stays where it is, and then Superman and Lois has been paired with The Flash, which is a pretty typical CW thing. So, no real surprises there?
No. Makes sense as well to put Superman and Lois behind The Flash, because obviously you want your new show to come after something that's pretty popular. The Flash is the most viewed show on the CW, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it makes logical sense to put it behind then, because I'm pretty sure they did the same with Black Lightning, didn't they? Initially, yeah. So no real surprises there. Batwoman we're keeping its time slot. No real surprise. And then Black Lightning as well, because it's got its own little fan base that always watches. So again, I'm not really surprised that those two moved. I think it's just more surprising that Supergirl's not there. But then when you think about, what's happening outside of the show, it makes a bit more sense as to why the problem.
I mean, the reason why Supergirl's been delayed is because of Melissa, the pregnancy, because it's going to get to a point eventually where
they just can't film.
They just can't film, because unlike someone like Danielle Panabaker, who's obviously been pregnant on The Flash this season, she pretty much could have made it to the end of the season, and she basically did. But, unlike Danielle, Melissa is literally the lead of the show. She is Supergirl, and she also has to wear, pretty much every episode, has to wear a super tight-fitting costume, which doesn't accommodate for baby bumps. So it's one of those things where it's just kind of impossible to film at some points with her, so they're basically just giving her loads of time to obviously have the, go through the pregnancy, give birth to the baby, and then spend some time with it after it's born as well. So that's why Supergirl's delayed. Legends, I think, has purely been delayed just because, I mean, Legends typically debuts in the mid-season anyway.
Yeah.
And given the fact that all the shows have moved to the mid-season, I think Legends will basically just compensate for that and will debut in, like, April or May. Basically around this time. Just to kind of make up for it.
No, Legends was really a shock to me because, like I say, I'm so used to that show just not starting at the same time with the others. So that not being there, I kind of just naturally assumed that Legends probably would be moved to a later date because you know what the CW is like. They don't like having because they've got that many Arrowverse shows. They don't like having them all on at the same time. They kind of prefer to spread it out. So
have you seen the synopsis for season 6 of Legends?
I haven't actually. No, I've only seen the flashes.
Well, we'll get to the Flash in a minute. Have you seen it, Dan?
Yeah, I'm all caught up now.
Yeah, so
and I've got an idea for Supergirl. How about, while Melissa is looking after her baby, we have a whole half season of Alex as Supergirl?
Yes. As long as it's not in the dream world, I'll take it. No, do you know what they should do that would really get everyone excited is
just cancel it.
Yes. Bring back Monel. Just bring Monel in.
Yeah, but
get all the caramel stands going off.
Yeah, but then they will be having a war against the Lex Corp stand. Oh god.
Hey,
oh god.
Right into the story. Monel gets Kara pregnant.
Bro, and then Lena's not happy because her and Cara should be together forever. You imagine Twitter. Twitter would be a literal war zone.
Oh, it will. I mean, it already is, but it's going to get...
Lena
There'll
makes
be
a
literal
test tube
deaths.
baby and Cara, like, rejects it.
There will literally be deaths on Twitter.
God.
But the synopsis for the shows have kind of been released for some of them. Legends has basically said what the plot is.
What? Oh, I'm happy I didn't read it then.
Not spoilers, but they've said basically what the the thing is, the threat of the season. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Space aliens.
Why do I still watch this show?
We're going to space, boys.
Why we
Yes.
At least they've beaten Fast and
I
Furious
was
to it.
literally about to say.
And Mission Impossible.
And Mission Impossible. I mean, Tom Cruise is already thinking about it. I mean, why? Apparently, it has ties to someone
does
in
it
the
have
team.
to be in space, or is it just be aliens?
I imagine it'll be aliens will come to Earth. I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but still, I hate it. I hate it so much. Like this show, like has this just got nothing to do with time travel anymore?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. Yeah.
Like that's literally like you're on a time ship. That's the main set of the show.
Well, I just don't think they know what to do with time in terms of if they do this, it could mess up this, and they just don't know how to keep up with it.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's clear that Legends isn't really concerned with sort of sticking to the rules of time travel anymore. I think recent episodes have proved that. So, yeah, I mean at least this season they were able to tie in the threat into like time periods, which was kind of cool. But it was just I don't know where they're going to go with this, and they say it's tied to one of the members of the team, which just tells me they're going to pull another stunt like they did with Charlie this year, where they're just gonna,
Charlie's going to be a space alien.
Oh, fucking Charlie. Jesus Christ. She is the reason that Legends has just gone downhill. I thought it was Mona, but as soon as they got rid of Mona, I was like, all right, might be going places. Fucking Charlie. It's Charlie. She is the thing that has brought down.
What they'll really do, and this will literally make me stop watching the show, is if they're like, oh, Sarah's like an alien. She's not actually from Star City. Her dad isn't actually Quentin and Laurel. It's actually, her parents aren't Quentin and Laurel. It's actually she's from an alien race, and and I wouldn't put it past them.
Huh?
I wouldn't put it past them for 1 second.
Good God.
If they dare say that Mick Rory is an alien, then
I mean, I'd buy that. That'd be like, all right, fair enough.
No, Mick Rory's a drunk who has a gun that shoots fire. That's it.
Yeah,
He's the best character in the whole Arrowverse.
I mean, if they did make him an alien, I'd be like, what the hell? But we also got the synopsis for The Flash, which I haven't got it in front of me. But did you send it to me, Dan? Actually, you did, didn't you? Hang on. Just bear me 1 second while I do this live.
Oh, the Flashes. The Flashes, yeah.
Yeah, here we go. I've got it here, right. So here it is. I love how it just says a spoiler just in the first sentence. Flash will ultimately defeat Mirror Master. Just straight away. But in doing so, he'll also unleash an even more powerful and devastating threat on Central City, one that threatens to tear his team and his marriage apart. What does that mean?
Cobalt Blue.
Are they now actually calling her Mirror Master?
I guess so. I've heard Mirror Mistress thrown around, but it was kind of confirmed when she initially came in that she was going to be the new Mirror Master.
Yeah.
Because her name is Eva McCulloch, and the name of the comics is Evan McCulloch, so it's it's kind of there. But
yeah.
So yeah, she's going to get taken down, as it says here. I mean, obviously we all know that, but still.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because people are talking about Cobalt Blue potentially being the villain for season 7, given the fact that it says tear the marriage apart. I don't buy this. I'm sorry. As someone who has been, waiting for Cobalt Blue to come into the show since like season 3, I don't buy this. Like, I get where people are coming from with it, because obviously, if any of you guys don't know, it's basically the theory that if Cobalt Blue was to be brought into the show, instead of it being Malcolm Thorne, it would be Eddie Thorne coming back. Obviously, Eddie was with Iris when he died, so it would be a thing. He comes back, but at the end of the day, I don't buy that because not only are Barry and Iris married, but they've been together way longer than Eddie and Iris ever were. I don't see why this would be a thing where Eddie shows up and all of a sudden Iris is like, oh, Fuck you, Barry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unless Todd Helbig got a hold of the scripts and was like, "How can I just make Iris bad again?"
Like I was saying this, like unless Eddie has some kind of like information on Barry where like he says he tells Iris that like he tried to murder his mum or something. I don't know. Like it's just something absolutely terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how this would happen.
Yeah.
Then what? The only thing is,
or like Eddie has like mind control powers. I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, then who do you think it is then? Given that they've clearly stated it's like something that will have an effect on Barry and Iris's relationship. Who do you think it is then? If it's not Eddie, who do you think?
Well, I guess they've kind of given up on doing Red Death then, because they kind of hinted at it, but I think that was just.
I think that was just a Todd Helbig thing. I think it was just Todd Helbig, and then he realized how he made the show so shit. So it was just like, yeah, let's just erase all traces of Todd Helbig, which I'm very grateful for.
Hot Pursuit. Patty Smith is coming back.
Hey, I want Patty to come back.
Patty was awesome.
She could break up the marriage because when Barry sees that, he's gonna be like, "Oof." Yeah. I'll show you a meme, and you'll be like, "Yeah, that'll break up that marriage."
Oh, here we. Yeah, I think I actually know which meme you're talking about.
Let's just say Patty has a fae.
Yeah. Yeah, Patty thick. But I think that Cobalt Blue, as much as I'd love to see him on the show, and if they do him for season 7, I'll be so happy because I've wanted him for such a long time. I just don't buy it based on the synopsis, like the whole thing of tearing the marriage apart. I don't know. I just don't really. I mean, it is very strange because they do like because even the way it's typed out, it's very specific. Like they do very much put a focus on and marriage apart. So like it's clearly like a focal thing, but I don't know if that links to because also this is the thing like it's always been a theory that Eddie would be Cobalt Blue. That's not a thing the show has ever confirmed. It's not a thing that has ever been speaks about. So even if we do get Cobalt Blue, there's nothing to say that it actually will be Eddie. Either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing stopping them actually doing Malcolm Thorne, really. It's just very unlikely, but there's nothing really stopping them doing it. So, I don't know. I don't feel confident. I'd love to put my faith in it, but I can't. So, that's the schedule, but we still have quite a bit of other news to go through. Unless, do you guys have any other thoughts on that?
It's just weird not seeing Arrow there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fact,
also, you're probably going to go into it later, or maybe. Did you see the fact that Green Arrow and the Canaries is still very much alive?
I was literally just about to go into that. Yeah, it's so Mark Pedowitz, who's like the head guy at the CW, he basically said because obviously questions were asked about Green Arrow and the Canaries as to where it is, what's going on with it, and he basically just said, yeah, it's still alive. We're still sort of considering it. We're still looking at it. So I think it could have been a thing where maybe Green Arrow and the Canaries was going to debut later than Superman and Lois anyway, and they've just had to push it back because obviously they want to focus on the shows that they do have on air right now rather than focus on new ones. So yeah, I mean Green Arrow and the Canaries, I think it will happen. I mean, it did very well. Like the Backdoor pilot was, I think, the second highest viewed episode of the season.
Yeah,
the crossover.
Yeah.
So basically, it was the biggest standalone episode of the show.
Yeah.
Or of the season.
And also the fact as well that you look at a lot of the other pilots that obviously the CW you've got, the fact that they've actually had the opportunity to actually shoot their pilot, I think also gives them a massive advantage as well. Because I just don't. Because the only worry I'd see is that they've been trying to like pit that pilot between the one for the potential spin-off for the 100 from what I remember correctly.
It's Legacy.
Yeah.
The 100. Sorry.
Yeah, because the only real thing about that one is obviously because it's airing during a pandemic, it's going to go either one or two ways. Either it's going to get crap ratings, or because everyone's going to be at home having nothing to do, it'll get obsessively high ratings. So it depends on whether like the stories are true as to whether those two are kind of pitting against each other for that final spot. But if that's the case, then I do hope it's Green Arrow and the Canaries because I do want to see it as a show. Just because I do really like the premise of it, and it has something that has grown on me over time. Because originally I wasn't too keen on having it as a spin-off, but I think the more that I've looked at it, the more I'm keen for it.
I think the way that Arrows sort of ended and the way they sort of changed some of the backstories, obviously with like Roy and that. It kind of gives the future characters a bit more to them now. But I think it actually gives the story a little bit more. Like it could do better.
I mean, if they don't do it, then I just
leave your season 8 agenda out of this. Leave that out of this, okay? Just leave it out.
But I mean, I enjoyed the backdoor pilot. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, and also it just means we get more Laurel, which I can't complain. I mean, Black Siren is awesome, so I can't complain about that. And I mean, I think it could be interesting. It could be fun. My only question with it is would it really be a part of the Arrowverse? Because obviously it would be set in 2040. So, like, say if we were going to get these big crossovers and stuff, would it be a part of it?
Depends if the legends are a part of it, because then you have the element of time travel if they actually remember to use it.
I mean,
the
legends aren't really involved anymore. Like, they're basically not in the universe.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure doesn't Mia have that device that allows us to travel from between different times? Because remember, she used it in the finale.
But wasn't that like but didn't Sarah go and get her?
I thought Sarah just picked her up.
Yeah, like didn't Sarah go and get her?
Oh, it was just weird because I just remember like the last scene of her in the finale was her where she obviously opened up that breach. I don't know if that was Sarah who controlled that or not, but yeah,
sure.
I don't know.
I have to go back and look at it, but yeah, I'm
sure
it was just Sarah who picked her up. But
oh, damn. Well, I don't really know, but to be fair, I think it'd be kind of cool if we did have a show that wasn't as integral to the crossover. I think that would actually be kind of
be a
cool
nice change for Arrow.
Yeah.
But I think speaking of crossovers, we actually got the first details of the crossover this year, and I think as myself and a few others sort of suspected, the big crossover isn't really going to happen this year.
Cancelled.
Yep. Basically, just because with filming sort of restrictions, it's kind of impossible to do it this year. Because there's a limit on the amount of people you can have on a set and extras and things like that, so it's not exactly doable. So basically what they're doing is they're doing a 2-hour crossover between Batwoman and Superman and Lois, which is a cool idea. I like that. It surprises me it's Batwoman and not the Flash. That shocks me. Not because of the shows themselves, but because the fact that Superman and Lois and the Flash are on the same night. It surprises me that it's Batwoman and not the Flash, especially because Batwoman's on a Sunday and Superman is on a Tuesday. So that's like, is there going to be like a day break in between the two of them, which would be a bit weird? I mean, they could. I mean, to be fair, they swap around the dates all the time when it comes to the crossover, so I'm sure they'd do that. But I mean, this could be cool. I think like Superman and Batman is like obviously such an iconic pairing, so doing it with Batwoman could be interesting. And they've also said as well that other characters from other shows could show up as well, so probably like from Supergirl and The Flash could probably show up, which would be nice. So I think it's cool. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's something different. It's definitely not the crossover that I was expecting out of the two shows that could have crossed over with each other. But I'm interested for it, and it'll be cool to see how they do it. I hope as well if they get an opportunity. Obviously, depends on how what happens with the pandemic. But I'd really love to see a Batwoman crossover with Supergirl as well. That's something that I'd really like to see.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is obviously something that they've done off the spot as well, because I know, I think it was Googie. He said that him and Greg Berlanti basically already knew what the crossover was for this year. They said it like right after Crisis. Because I think someone asked him like, "Oh, you guys taking a break next year?" And he was like, "No, we already know what it is." I imagine that's been basically postponed till next year. Because that sounded to me.
Called him Googie.
We always call him Googie. That's his name.
Ugh.
We always call him Googie, don't we, Hoss?
Makes me feel sick.
We always call him Googie, and so I think that that's been postponed till next year, because the way he was talking about it seemed like it was like another next big crossover. Like, oh yeah, we've just done Crisis, but we're going to do another one. But I mean, to be fair, I think if they're going to get away with it any year, it's going to be this year. Not only just because of the pandemic, but they have just done Crisis, which is like the biggest that we've ever had and they ever will do. I think they can get away with doing a smaller crossover this year.
Yeah.
We also got the first official poster for Superman and Lois as well, which a lot of people are criticising. And I don't really know why.
Absolute idiots. Because, like, they've not even had an opportunity to film an actual official poster.
Yeah.
It's literally just stock images that they had of the two actors. Like, just give them a break. Like, seriously, people are just being such dickheads about it. It's actually depressing.
Yeah, like it's just there's literally nothing. They haven't even shot the pilot yet. They haven't shot anything. Like it's literally, as you mentioned, it's just images they had to get people excited and to get the first official poster out there. And to be honest, it's working because I've not been that excited about Superman and Lois. I've said that before. Like out of like these new Arrowverse shows, I've not really cared for Superman and Lois, but this poster did get me excited, and now we're starting to see stuff happen and stuff. I am getting excited. So it did its job, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just people nitpicking, and it's just for no reason because they've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like the CW haters have been coming out.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just coming out of the hidey holes because they've got nowhere else to go. So, but no, I thought it's a cool looking poster. Like you say for yourself, for me, it's generated a bit more interest for me in the series because I'm the same as you. I kind of saw the casting calls and the synopsises that they were throwing around, and I just thought, I don't know if this is for me. But after seeing the poster, I'm a bit more optimistic towards it. Again, I can't really say a lot because they've literally shot nothing. So just going to have to see, what happens when they eventually do get around to shooting it, whenever that is.
I think it could be quite a nice change of pace considering this Supergirl season, and seeing as we won't get Supergirl for quite a while now, to actually see what a Superman show would be like. Because I was always a bit skeptical that how can you have a Superman show and a Supergirl show on at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get like a bit of a break from Supergirl. We get to see Superman.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe it does better. Who knows?
Yeah, because the thing is, I've seen a few like hoax reports saying that the reason they're doing this is because Supergirl's ending after season 6. Where I just kind of read these things and I just think, well, people have been saying that like bloody, we've got this covered. Have been saying Supergirl's going to get cancelled for the last 4 seasons,
exactly.
And it hasn't. So I read things like that and I just think, nah, it's just you're getting a bit desperate now.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm definitely not advocating Supergirl's going to. I mean. I know there was a lot of rumours about Supergirl ending for season 6 because I know that's where Melissa's contract is up, and it does seem as if Melissa perhaps wants to move on. It seems like she has sort of goals elsewhere, especially with this baby being born. It might be a thing she might want to take a couple years off. So honestly, I wouldn't throw that out the window just yet.
Well, no, on that. Again, we'll have to see what happens because the thing is, if they would have to make an announcement way in advance for it. So I'd say if we don't get anything by the end of this year, then I think it's just all reason to concern that that they're gonna be doing another season after this. That season 6 ain't the last.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that why Melissa was signed up to a 6-season contract because everyone else got 7-season contracts. I find that really bizarre. Obviously, Grant's on a 7-season contract. Steven was on a 7-season contract. I find it bizarre that she got a 6th one. Maybe that was a deal she made elsewhere. But
yeah, maybe because she was probably the most established lead out of all the other actors at that time going into an Arrowverse show. Probably why. And also you got to think as well. When she signed that contract, it was whilst they were with CBS and not with the CW. So
exactly.
Things around it.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. And also, and alternatively, even if if it wasn't signed with CBS, if they did sign it with the CW, that would take her up to season 7.
Mm-hmm. Oh, true, actually.
Yeah, true.
Because CBS was season 1, so if she came onto the CW for season 2 and then signed the 6-season contract, that would be 2 to 7. Yeah. So I actually could be completely wrong there. Anyway, final piece of news we have here is something we were discussing a little bit off air before. Swamp Thing has now been acquired by the CW and will now be debuting in the fall, so that'll be taking up the slot, I believe, of the Flash. And we have the new CW Arrowverse show, which obviously it did debut on the DC Universe. It didn't do very well. It was cancelled before they even finished filming the first season. But according to critic reviews, everyone loved it. People seem to have a really good time with it. I mean, Dan has seen it.
No, I found it fun. Like, it was a different pace. In terms of like the DC Universe shows, I just thought it was actually quite good. Like it was scary at times. Like it had a bit of gore, a lot different. I'm sort of wondering. I'd like to see a season 2, but I know that it probably will change quite a lot because jumping from DC Universe to CW, they're not going to be able to like swear, so that's like one bit gone. It's not going to be as gory, so that's another bit gone. But I would like to see if it could come into the Arrowverse. Very much like to see Constantine crossover with it.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Yeah, I mean, they did actually. There's kind of two things with that because they have obviously Constantine actually name dropped Swamp Thing in Legends season 4.
Yep.
He actually said that he knew a Swamp Thing, which was pretty cool, and also obviously Swamp Thing actually showed up in the extended multiverse sort of montage at the end of Crisis. So they've kind of already done that. So it just depends if they actually want to bring it in properly, which I think would be really cool. And also, hopefully, if people watch this, which given the fact it's coming out in the fall, which in that schedule, there's fuck all else to watch, hopefully people will actually watch the show, and if it gets good ratings and is successful and people really like it, there could be further discussions to have where CW could make a second season. Because at the moment, the CW don't actually have the rights to the show. They just have the airing broadcasting rights.
Yeah.
So they don't actually have the rights to the show. So basically, it would have to be a discussion between Warner Brothers and the CW to actually officially get the rights to the show and then do it. Which, to be honest, I mean, given the fact that the CW already got Stargirl, which was, well, it is a DC Universe show as well, I wouldn't put it past them. Especially when they have already cancelled the series, so they might as well. So, yeah, I think this is good news, and I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm going to watch it myself on Amazon Prime, so I can watch it in good quality. Yeah, it's good news, and I'm excited to see sort of how it does on the CW. So that is everything. That's all the news. So, not great news, really. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, they're just unprecedented times, so you can't really complain.
Yeah, you can't fault them,
No. And I guess as well, at least with this, it maybe gives them a bit more time to prep out the seasons and plan, for the storylines, because there's no question that the story is going to have to be changed based on the restrictions, that television production companies are going to have now for filming stuff. Because there's no way you're going to be able to get away with probably what they probably written for the seasons initially. That's probably going to have to be changed.
Yeah.
Because there's all things now. It's like, you have to observe social distance in between cast members and stuff like that. That's what I've heard going into this next season.
We're not going to get more West Allen cuddle scenes. What a shame.
Oh, what a shame. They'll just have to do massive cuddles from afar. CGI cuddles.
CGI them together, just smack them together.
Just do a Jeremy Renner and just CGI their hands.
Oh god, yes. Oh, get some of that.
Well, I mean, they could do that. They could do that with Sue and Ralph. He could stretch over from one end of the room.
They could do that.
Yeah.
Although he would have to wash his hands afterwards. Yeah, that's everything. That's the news. So let's delve into this week's episode of Arrow. This is episode 7 of season 1, and I did have the title in my head a minute ago, and I've forgotten it.
I had it as well. Give me a second. I have a
look. All right, I did have it, but then I lost
on you for this.
Muse of Fire. I remember
Muse of Fire. That's the one. And this episode is quite a big one because this actually introduces a fairly big character onto the show. That being Helena Bertinelli, aka the Huntress. I'd just like to start off this review by saying that Tom Cruise really gets a run for his money here. Because the way that Oliver runs in this episode at the beginning... I was
about to say this.
I've got a big point on this.
It's a big old run.
He gives it his all, but it's not quite Tom Cruise.
No.
It's not quite.
I don't think anybody quite is, but except for Johnny Vincent. That's a reference for me and my friend only. But I think that Oliver's run is spectacular. And he's fast. He's fast. Like, Barry Allen, move over.
Well, yeah, I have a point regarding that. So, do you remember the scene in The Flash where the Flash had to, run away from a bike or was chasing a bike? And he apparently couldn't do that? How did the Flash fail to catch a guy on a bike, and then Oliver Queen pretty much runs down like 5 blocks and nearly catches it?
Like full on charges.
Yeah, I just remembered that Flash scene, and I was just like, "Wow!" It just made me laugh. Like,
he must have spent all his spare time off screen watching Tom Cruise running videos.
Like it's ironic that he didn't become the Flash, really, when you look at this scene. And it's basically I believe that, as you were saying in episode 2, Dan, about the foreshadowing of Oliver becoming the Spectre, I believe this was the foreshadowing of Oliver becoming the Flash in the Elseworlds crossover. Because it's just clear, he has that passion, that determination. You can feel the wind in his hair, and he just was so happy. He's the happiest he's ever been when he was running at that speed. But
could you say that Oliver really got to stretch his legs this week, then, Dec? Dec.
So we got Helena introduced in this episode, and look, all I'll say is I enjoy watching him work. Now
I've got another point about that later.
Okay, you can do it now.
I think it might be later on when he's like training, and just how the fact that he's shirtless. Did you really enjoy that scene?
I did enjoy that scene. I particularly like.
I did too. Don't worry.
Yeah, I enjoy that scene, especially because I really like seeing the scenes when both Oliver and also just other characters throughout the show use that. I don't know what it's called, but it's that thing where he's like, it's like he's fighting someone, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? The thing where he's like slapping it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but it's the thing where he's like he can like fight and punch and defend himself.
Yeah. I've seen him before, like different martial arts. Yeah.
It's cool. Like I kind of want one. I wouldn't know how to use it, but I want one. So yes, I did enjoy that scene. But yes, we did get the first official introduction to Helena Bertinelli in this episode, and this is kind of a big character in the first couple of seasons. And I really like Jessica Tegal. Like, I actually forgot how cool she was. The way she kind of comes in, she's kind of unsuspecting, and then you eventually see she's kind of this badass fighter. She's really cool, and I'm actually thinking, like, she never came back, did she? Like, she never returned. Like in the later seasons.
Does she not? She's only in this season, isn't she?
I think she's in season 2 as well.
Season 2.
Oh right, okay.
But then after that, she literally never returns. Which
I don't know why. Did she do other work, or was it just?
I know Jessica Tegal was on the show at one point.
Yeah.
Because I know there was speculation she was going to come back in season 6, but that never happened. Like, but Jessica Tegal was, because I believe her show was cancelled around the time of season 6, and there was like theory that she was going to come back onto the show for a bit. That obviously didn't happen, but
yeah.
Given the fact that she's like the Huntress, like a pretty big character, I'm kind of surprised they never brought her back.
Yeah, it would have been good too. Yeah,
like she's cool, and like her chemistry with Oliver works. Like they kind of have like the Batman Catwoman relationship, really.
Yeah,
like that's kind of how it comes across to me. And I like that, and I like also being introduced to the Bertinellis as a whole, because they kind of have a recurring. Because even though Helena never comes back, the Bertinellis do have kind of like a recurring presence in the season. Even up until I believe like season 7, I think the Bertinellis are referenced. So it's kind of cool to get like that first sort of seeded in here. And even like they kind of hint at like all the different mobs and stuff like that are in Star City in this, because they even like hint. Yeah, we have like China White comes back in this as well briefly, so they kind of hint at the connection between the Bertinellis and the Triads, which is something that does kind of recur as well, particularly in the first couple of seasons. So it kind of starts to set up again, like it does quite a bit of world building this episode, which I quite like. Starts to set up some different things, not just with him and with Oliver, but also with the Bertinellis and just their kind of links into the larger crime world of Starling City. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sort of just the corruption of Star City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, we actually get some really good scenes in this with Malcolm. I think this is the most Malcolm has been to play at this point.
Yeah.
And I have to say, John Barrowman, the scene where Tommy goes back to his house to like confront Malcolm about him freezing all of his credit cards and stuff. Like Malcolm's just sat there like fencing this dude, and then like he takes the mask off, And when he's speaking to him, he delivers it so well. Like there's this moment where he says, all that stuff was, it was made up of my money, or should I say, was made up with my money. Like he says it in such like a sassy way. He delivers it so well.
Oh,
like it's so Barrowman, and then he just goes back to fencing. I love John Barrowman. I love Malcolm. He's so good. He's so good in this first season. Like they kind of like mess with him a bit as the series goes on, but like
so they just turned him into a joke. They just turned him into a joke because you see how he is here, and he's just like,
he's kind of scary in this.
Yeah, he has got a bit of a presence here because there's the scene as well where he visits Moira after she goes in the hospital, and he's just you just feel the tension when he's there because you can just look at him and just think something is not right with this guy, and it's weird how Barrowman's just like how he can just play that, and then that other scene he's menacing, but he's also kind of likable in a weird way, in that he's such a dickhead. He's just brilliant. John fucking Barrowman, man. Just John Barrowman.
I just love Malcolm in this season. It's just because he is, like you say, he has a presence, but he also has such a likability to him because he's just such a damn likable guy. Like it almost surprises me that he wasn't cast as a hero because like John Barrowman typically plays hero characters as well. Like because I've heard him even say that in interviews and stuff. Like he was really excited about Arrow because he was allowed to play a villain, which he doesn't really get to do. So that was really cool. And yeah, I like the scene where he visits Moira as well, because again, it just kind of further hints at this sort of larger conspiracy mystery going on between those two, which I like. And they even like they kind of hint at the relationship a little bit in this as well. He says like we used to be friends, Moira, like really good friends, sort of thing. So they kind of start to
friends
hint
with
towards
benefits.
that. Oh yeah. So that's kind of cool. I also liked. I kind of like the fact that Thea kind of has the realization in this episode as well to kind of just chill out a bit.
Yeah, because she was pissing me off at the start. She had that bit with Oliver after they saw Moira in the hospital. And I'm just like, here we go. She's being a bitch again. Just please, just no. And then as soon as Moira had that conversation with her, I was just like, this is where Thea becomes less irritating.
Yeah,
because she finally understands.
I mean, it's kind of cool because like I liked how they tied this in because when Moira goes to the hospital, there's the doctor there who's the same doctor who obviously brought kind of Moira in to see Oliver when he first comes back. Very recurring CW actor. He was in iZombie.
He was also in Legend Season 3. He was the director of the Time Bureau.
Oh my god. I forgot to mention this.
He was. Yeah.
I forgot to mention this last week because also you're not caught up with Supergirl, Hoss. Do you know who was in it last week? The most recent episode.
Wasn't it? What was his name? One of the Lumbo Hunters. Yes. I know that this.
Yeah. He was in this most recent episode of Supergirl. I saw him. I was like, what?
It's almost like when when Justin Claiborne's actor showed up again. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Wasn't he used on Arrow? Justin Claiborne wasn't that on Arrow?
Yeah, Justin Claiborne. Yeah, Prometheus' dad.
But like, what show did he show up on? Like the actor?
Wasn't it Supergirl? I'm sure it was.
Yeah, I think it was Supergirl actually. Yeah, because wasn't it?
Yeah. Because it was when Nia went. Yeah, Nia's dad.
Yeah, that's it. Where was I? The big tangent. The doctor. So there's that nice little sort of moment where she says, seeing that doctor again reminded me because he was the guy who said the Oliver you lost may not be the one we found. And I kind of like the fact that, it kind of establishes that, Oliver is kind of different now. Like, he is a different person. He's still an absolute love rat, but he's a pretty different guy. But, he still knows how to pull Helena. But, I kind of enjoy their relationship because, again, it's kind of like the Batman and Catwoman thing. Like, they're not super, like, in a relationship, really. It's more just a thing where they kind of have almost this tension for each other, like this lust for each other. Rather than love, and I kind of like that, especially because Diggle starts to get his act up in this episode as well, where he's like, "Oh, come on, Oliver, come on now."
You're supposed to be undercover, not speed dating.
Yeah, Diggle has some good lines in this. But I like the fact Diggle's just like, "Come on, man, rein it in a bit." This isn't playtime. It's good stuff. I enjoy it. I mean, I think that this episode, like, it does a lot, as I said, I think it does a really lot of good stuff for world building. It doesn't really progress the plot.
No, this is very much filler completely for me. Like, even more so than last week. This is more filler.
I don't necessarily see it as filler as last week, because I think that this episode, as I said, I think it does do some. I think this episode really did some world building, and again, it did want to introduce Helena, which was kind of what it was all about. Like, because they knew that obviously Huntress is a pretty big DC character, and they thought,
well, yeah,
we'll dedicate like a whole episode to her. And I believe the next episode is sort of about her as well. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really progress the plot necessarily, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. Just because, again, I enjoy the world building, the kind of bringing in the Bertinellis and establishing that and the connection to everything, and just bringing in Helena as well. And I like the Tommy and Laurel scenes; it's pretty cute.
Yeah, pretty cute. But I agree with what Dan was saying earlier, that they do kind of feel like they belong in their own show because they didn't really have much to do with the main storyline. Like, I thought it was all right, but it wasn't like top tier amazing. And if it wasn't in the episode, I don't think I would have really been all that bothered about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also...
Go on.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, no, I also found another actor who was in another Arrowverse show. I don't know if you guys sort of clocked on. But you know the waiter in the curry house with Tommy?
I recognised him.
Yeah.
He was a character. I don't know if any of you know who he is. McGill on Supergirl.
McGill?
No.
Yeah,
No.
he's a character called McGill, and then he was also on the 100 as well. But as soon as I saw him, I was
Who's
like...
McGill on Supergirl?
Is it from season 1? If it's season 1, I won't remember.
I think he's probably just a DEO agent or something.
Yeah, that does lead me on to say, actually, you know, the guy who's Bertinelli's lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a DEO agent.
Yeah, and also I remember him from what's his name? Altered Carbon. Yeah, I remember him from that. He's in the first episode of Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that with that amazingly fake Russian accent that I don't care about. It was weird because I'm so used to seeing him in Altered Carbon, and I saw him in this. I was just like, what? He's actually not Russian. Oh, get it.
That guy's also ridiculously strong. Like, you know, when he was in the restaurant and he's like asking for that guy for the money, and he's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Restock your bar?" And he touches the glass, and obviously they're like fake ones that they use to like smack.
Yeah.
And as soon as he touches them, you can just see like the back one breaks before it even like hits the floor. That guy just full on slapped the ball. Yeah.
Like, that would hurt as well. Like, that would really... Like, I've caught glass before. It hurts.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think that this episode, it does a lot of good stuff. It is a bit fillery in a way, but I also think it does do a lot of good world building. When does Dark Archer come into it? I thought he came into it before now.
No, I'm pretty sure Dark Archer is episode 9.
I know he's in 9, but I thought he came in like before that.
Finale or something.
It might be the end of next episode, maybe, but I think that's
a stretch. He has like a performance, like an appearance before episode 9. I could be completely wrong, but we'll wait and see. But anyway, I guess we now move on to the score. Now, Hoss has predicted that we actually may have a different score for this one. So, who do you want to go first, Hoss?
I'll start with you first.
Okay. For me, I am going to give this episode of Arrow, given the fact that, again, I really enjoy this one. I like all the stuff with Malcolm. I like the stuff with Moira. I enjoy the Tommy and Laurel scenes just for what they are. And I like the world building with Huntress and the Bertinellis. And Oliver's run really is the cherry on top. I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to go with a 6.
Ooh.
This is where Mr. Negative is popping out. Look, well, not really Mr. Negative. Here's the thing.
Come on then.
I think this is still a good episode. I think just for me, though, there's not really anything that's that memorable for me from this. It's everything in here is good for me, but it's just I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, it's good, but it just nothing about it just really gripped me. Even with last week's episode, because last week's was filler, but at least the themes and the way that they merged the flashbacks and the present day storylines together really helped to keep that more engaging for me. Whereas I feel like with this, without the flashbacks, which we had none of them in this episode, I think it's the first episode where there's no flashbacks. I think in a way that hurt it a little bit for me because I wasn't all. I liked what was happening present day, but it wasn't blowing me away. I feel like if maybe they had flashbacks in, it would have had something else a bit more to keep my interest a bit more. But I just didn't really feel it all that much. I think Huntress is a good character, but I wouldn't say she's top tier for me personally. I do enjoy her, but actually, I just don't know. There was something missing about this episode. Maybe it is the Tommy and Laurel stuff, just feeling like its own separate show. No, it's not that. I've already made it clear that I don't mind them as a couple, but I do feel like their scenes could have maybe been a bit more integral to the current day storyline. The only scene that really felt like it was the scene where Tommy went over to Oliver to make sure he was okay with him and Laurel being together. That was a nice scene, but I wish I could have had a bit more of that in terms of relating it more to the actual storyline. And just in general, when I look back on this season, this was one of the episodes that wasn't too high in my regards, and I'd say so far it's probably the weakest episode that I've seen so far. Again, not a bad episode. There's a reason it hasn't got like a 4 or anything like that, and 5 is like straight average. I think this one is a decent episode, and yeah, I'll stick with the 6. I was iffy between a 6 and a 7, but like I say, I just felt like I got more out of the last episode compared to this one. So for me, I just gave it a 6, and also because I have to live up to my reputation as being glass half empty.
Yeah, you have been. Yeah, you've been pretty positive lately.
Yeah.
I think I'm rubbing off on you.
Well, there is a reason that this isn't my favourite season of Arrow.
Oh. This isn't season 4, which we all know is your favourite.
No, season 2, boy. Season 2. Get your facts right, son.
No fighting this one.
Right. Dan Finn, what is your score for this episode?
Yeah, like, it's the 3rd episode now that I've seen of season 1, like having watched it again. I need to go back and watch the other ones because I think this is the first episode that I saw Lance in. I can't remember, was he in last week's?
No, he wasn't actually. No.
Yeah, so like I saw Lance and was like, wait, shit, Lance had hair. I was laughing at that, and yeah, it was kind of just really nostalgic.
We had a discussion about that in the pilot episode.
That was really great. And then yeah, I like the scene with Tommy and Oliver where he was like, "I'm going to snap your neck," and then proceeded to snap someone's neck in that.
Oh, I forgot to mention that actually. There's a quick parallel. There's a nice little moment when Oliver and Helena are tied up, and Oliver. Well, Helena says, no one can know my secret after she just kills that dude. And Oliver literally, like a second before that, snaps a guy's neck, and he does it in the exact same way he did it in the pilot when he says, no one can know my secret. Nice little parallel.
Yeah.
Anyway, carry on. Just to mention that.
Yeah, no, I had that in my notes, but I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, I'm finding these episodes really nostalgic, and I'm really enjoying them, to be honest. So yeah, I think I'm going to give this episode a 7, where I think it just sets up a sort of a lot, and I just remembered how Helena comes back, and I think she's hot, so she kind of like boosts the episode a bit. So, yeah. So Helena's Helena, sorry, is definitely, she's more of a 7, but the episode gets a 7, if that's the score you want, Dec.
Well, I'm actually very happy you gave that score, because this is actually now, we all have different ones. We each have a different score, which I think is the first time ever, so that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
You're definitely, with me, probably going to get different scores.
That's good.
I reckon I'm going to be the most positive out of you lot.
Oh, yeah, and I will be the most negative.
In the happy middle. I appreciate a bit of variety.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be some episodes where you guys will be like arguing, and I'm going to be like, I really enjoyed it. Yeah. It'd be interesting when we get to some of those.
To be fair, I don't think that's going to happen a lot, because even with episodes like this that I don't think are all that memorable, I still think they're good, and they're far better than stuff you'd get in back half of season 3, season 4, season 6, that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's just that, like I say, it's just when you're having seasons like this that are filled with so many amazing episodes, you've kind of got to think to yourself, where does it stack up in comparison? So that's why I'm generally a bit more harsh, just because I like to compare episodes to the other episodes that are in that respective season. And in this case, it's just, I feel like it is one of the lesser ones. And I have a feeling this will probably be the most quote unquote negative I will be at any episode of this season. Because I'm pretty sure from this point onwards, there aren't any other episodes that I was like thinking, oh, this is going to be a 6 out of 10. I'm pretty sure the rest of them I pretty much enjoyed.
So that brings this episode to a close then. We want to thank you guys for listening to this episode. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on this episode if you're following along with us in the comment section down below, and also your thoughts on the news that we discussed at the beginning. Again, it's a very interesting situation, unprecedented at times, but interesting nonetheless. So, as always, I want to thank you guys for listening. I've been Dec.
I have been Hoss.
Well done.
Oh, I thought you were going to Dan, and I was going to say the other Dan.
No. Well, I mean, sorry.
Well, let me just say, we did actually, do the outro twice last week. We can do it again if you wish.
No, I like these just off the cuff, like cuff.
Okay, well,
I can't even speak, so.
Well, there we go. Off the cuff. That means I'm ending it. You're not getting one. Right. So, anyway, thank you, Dan, once again for joining us.
No worries, man. I'll come back whenever you want.
Yeah, we'll get you on again soon. And we want to thank you guys once again for listening. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more awesome DC content like this. And we hope to see you guys again in the next episode.